Hi, my name is Robin Wong, and in this video I want to share 5 additional tips on using Olympus OM-D cameras. Let's do this! I've done several videos before sharing various tips on using Olympus OM-D cameras. If you haven't seen any of these videos, I'll put the links in the descriptions below. I fully understand that for newcomers to Olympus OM-D cameras, the menu system can be overwhelming. Therefore, I hope that my sharing in this video can benefit you and help you to understand your camera a little bit better. Tip number 1, exposure shift. Olympus OM-D cameras has a specific feature to customize your exposure shift to your preference. If you shoot with program, aperture priority or shutter priority modes, and you always find yourself changing the exposure compensation to correct overexposure or underexposure, or if you are an ETTR shooter, meaning that exposed to the right, intentionally overexposing your shot to get the best out of the image, then the Olympus exposure shift feature makes a lot of sense for you. To find the exposure shift setting, go to Menu, under the cog, go to E3, E for exposure, then you find exposure shift. It says adjust optimal exposure separately for each metering modes. Once you go in, for each metering modes, I typically use matrix. You can go in and you can shift the exposure more. If you shoot with exposed to the right ETTR, then you can go all the way up to 1 stop over exposure. When you enable this, by default, the metering or the exposure calculation for your camera will be +1. You can also tweak it down to underexposed if you want your shots to be underexposed for any reasons. Now, this is definitely useful as you can start from the base, and even after you already adjusted this setting, when you go out, you can still further customize your exposure compensation if it doesn't give you the exposure that you want. Tip number 2, manual flash control. If you are using the Olympus OM-D EM10 series, the camera comes with a built-in flash in the camera. If you are using other cameras such as the EM1 Mark II, EM5 Mark III, then the cameras come with an attachment flash such as the FLRM3. All these flashes can be controlled manually, and here is how you can do it. First, make sure that your flash is attached to the camera, or if your camera has a built-in flash, make sure that it is popped up. Once the flash is turned on, then you can go to the Super Control panel by pressing OK. In Super Control panel, you can access the flash setting here. You can see the flash sign, and in the flash you go to the option on the far right. By default, it should show you the flash full power. This is the manual flash control. To control the value manually, all you have to do from here is just to press info, and from info you can control the flash power to customize the power to whatever that you want. Now obviously 1:1 is full power, and then 1/2, half is half power, then we have quarter power, and if you want just a fraction of the power, you can go over 1/32 or even lower. Tip number 3. The image stabilization of your Olympus OM-D cameras may be compromised if you are shooting in burst sequential mode. This is not a concern, it's not an issue if you are shooting with very fast shutter speeds, such as 1/500th of a second or anything faster than that. With fast shutter speed, camera shake is not an issue, so you don't have to worry about image stabilization. However, if you drop your shutter speeds to say 1/100th or slower, and if you're using a very long lens, such as the 40-150 or 300 Pro, then you may have to watch your shutter speed because the image stabilization may be compromised when you're shooting in fast frames per second. Now, there is a choice for you to prioritize speed or image stabilization. When shooting in burst mode, to change between speed or image stabilization priority, go to Menu, under the cogs, go to C2. Here you see image stabilization. You can choose between image stabilization or the FPS priority. Currently it's set to FPS priority, meaning that you choose speed, you get every single frame rate, but the image stabilization is compromised. If you want to prioritize image stabilization for each shot, and you don't mind the camera to have slower burst frame rate, then you can go to IS priority. Choose wisely, each will affect the outcome of your images differently. Tip number 4, you can have full camera control when you're shooting art filters. When you turn the mode dial of the camera to art filter mode, you are shooting in P mode, you are stuck at program mode only, meaning you don't have control of the shutter speed or aperture. A lot of people complain to me, they say that, Robin, I want to shoot the art filters, but I also at the same time want full control of the camera. How can I do this? Do not use the mode dial's art filter. Don't turn the mode dial to art filter. Turn it to any other modes that you shoot in. If you want to shoot in manual, if you want to shoot in aperture priority, if you want to shoot in shutter priority, turn the mode dial to any of these modes. Then you select the art filter that you want from the picture profile of your camera. You can do this by accessing the Super Control panel. By doing so, while you're shooting in the modes that you have selected, say shutter priority or aperture priority, you have full control of the camera. Tip number 5. You can apply the amazing Olympus Pen F's monochrome profile to any Olympus cameras that is newer than the Pen F. To do so, you need to shoot in RAW. Then you open your RAW images in Olympus Workspace, a free post-processing software from Olympus. Open your Olympus RAW image in the Olympus Workspace. Then from the Edit tab, the third tab, go to Picture Mode. From the drop-down menu, find Monochrome Profile. This is the exact same monochrome profile that is in the Olympus Pen F. Once you enable this, you have quite a few options to customize your black and white shots. One of the most useful features is the color filter. You can adjust which filter you want. You have a lot of colors to choose from, and you can further customize the intensity to change the look of your black and white image, which is pretty amazing. You can have a lot of customization, and this is one of the strongest features I think that is included in the monochrome settings or black and white settings for Pen F. Furthermore, there is a film grain effect. This film grain effect is no ordinary film grain. Once you enable this, let's say I add high, overlay a film grain onto the image. This particular film grain is scanned from actual film, one of the popular black and white film out there. I'm not gonna tell you which film this is scanned from. It is not difficult to guess. There are not that many black and white films available out there. And if you look closely, the overlay of the grain is not linear. There is a smart algorithm that the camera applies. The film grain will appear grainier in certain area of the image. With the smart algorithm plus an actual grain that is scanned from real film, this adds a unique, organic character to your black and white image. That's all the tips I have to share in this video. I hope you found these tips to improve your photography or your shooting experience using Olympus OM-D cameras. Please do support me and my channel by buying me a cup of coffee or giving me a small donation to my PayPal account. I'll leave the links in the descriptions below. Any small contribution goes a long way and is greatly appreciated and can help me to produce similar content coming this way. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to this channel if you have not done so, and I'll see you again in the next video. Until then, please take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.